Hello everyone, welcome to an iOS class. So myself Kanika Singh, and as a biology teacher I'm going to take up this 12th biology section from the starting module 1 and the chapter 1, that is what? Origin and evolution of life on the earth. So let me share my screen to you so we can start with the chapter. Just a second. So, okay. So this is the module 1 and the chapter 1, that is the origin and evolution of life and introduction to classification. So somehow it is connected with your class 10th also. So this origin and evolution of life on Earth has been started around 4 to 5 billion years ago. So this is the complete chapter starting. So this chapter mainly deals with the theories which were represented by the various scientists. So just to prove that how the life has been started at like 4 to 5 billion years ago, how it came to an existence first of all, and then what led to the complexity of this organism. Like we have heard that bacteria is their single cell, so then how it becomes to a multicellular organism. So it consists of all evolution section and the part of how evolution has been occurred, various theories of Darwin's Hardy-Wimper equilibrium. So all this is in this chapter. So basically what we are going to do, we are going to start with the first topic of this chapter, is that is the origin of life on this earth. So the origin of life we are going to start. So let me come back first. Okay. So the origin of life on the earth. So from the estimated and approximate ideas from the scientists, this earth has been evolved around 4 to 5 billion years ago. So it is very a long period of time. And the first life on this earth came to an existence around 3.5 billion years ago. That is the first ever single primitive prokaryotic cell, which came around 3.5 billion years ago. So on this earth, as we know, around 15 million species are present. How many species? 15. And we know how many species? 2 million species. That is around 20 lakhs. So how these many species are formed only from the single cell at that time around 3.5 billion years ago. So in this chapter, we are going to deal with all the evolution thing, that how many changes have been occurred in the single cell to form first a complex cell, then they form a multicellular cell. So from the simple cell to the complex one, this chapter is going to take you from the basic knowledge to the various details, and you will feel amazed about after hearing and knowing about the details of the single cell life and to the multicellular one. So basically, there are a vast variety of organisms present on this earth, which is known as biodiversity. And this biodiversity is very, very necessary for the earth. If it is not there, I think so, none of the species will survive on this earth and the earth will collapse finally. So this biodiversity plays an important role in maintaining the natural balance of the earth. So biodiversity, how it has been created? It has been created because of the different number of species, including plants and animals. I'm not saying only about animals, including plants and animals.
Excuse me, madam. Your right hand side of the board not visible.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's better. Thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Please carry on.
Okay. So this biodiversity is due to what? This 15 million of species, which include both flora and the fauna section. So how this biodiversity has been occurred, how a single cellular organism formed a multicellular one. So there were two main points which were given by the scientists that this could have been the cause of the complexity of organisms. This could have been, they have assumed that, okay? That first is variation and the second one is natural selection. So variation and natural selection, what are these two things? Variation means, with an example, we can understand it easily, like chimpanzees and monkeys. They look similar in their habits, in their facial structure, internal anatomy and internal structure, bones arrangement, muscles arrangement. They are almost, we can say, they are similar. Okay, but do they look similar? Are they actually similar? No. If they were similar, we will both call them as monkey or chimpanzee. But somehow they are different. That's why we named into different groups. Like this group is monkey and this group is chimpanzee. So this variation, what it is causing the difference between organisms. Like if I take my example and my mother and father and completely my family, do all we look similar? Although our common structure is similar. As a female will be similar to a female and male will be similar to a male in the common structure, but they do not look similar. Okay, so there is some sort of thing which is causing this dissimilarity, so we can identify the organism easily. So this dissimilarity is due to the variation. So the scientists believe that because of this variation only, the complexity between the organisms increases. The second point, natural selection. So what is natural selection? As the term suggests, a thing which is selected by the nature. So actually the nature is selecting, or what are the factors which is selecting these type of species which are naturally selected basically. So if I consider two groups of people or two groups of organisms into certain condition, like a condition A and a condition B. Okay, condition A has the hot climate, condition B has a cold climate. Okay, so for the colder region, you can approximately you can say that they will have a high amount of fat. They will have high amount of or high number of hairs on their body to protect from the cold. And in case of hot environment, they will have organisms have the scaly skin, less amount of hair, so the heat can be penetrate into the environment easily. So in case of A and in case of B, the organisms are adapt themselves to a natural condition and the natural habitat in which they are living. Similarly, the organisms which are naturally selected, they are selected by nature because they are adapted to that environment. Okay, and the organisms which are not adapted to the environment, they will wipe out from that area or from that zone. So that is what natural selection. Like the organisms which were complex and they have ability to adapt, they were naturally selected, and so on they went on the complexity level. But who were the simpler ones who cannot adapt, they got wiped out into the natural selection. This natural selection theory was given by the Darwin, and this variation theory was given by the Hugo Davis. So these both are the major terms which causing the evolution. phenomena evolution. So basically, we have learned that variation and also what the natural selection is helping in the evolution or the origin of life on the earth. So for origin of life on the earth, it was considered that earth initially was very hot. The climate was very hot that no life can survive in this hot climate. So the question arises then, if it that much hot, it was that much hot, then how the life survived, how it came to an existence. So this is the first question came into our mind. So the different theories were kept for this, in which first is what? Chemosynthetic theory, which was actually given by AI Operin. So this chemosynthetic theory, what it suggests? It says that initially the temperature was hot, okay, but suddenly, but gradually, what happened? Gradually, this hot climate starts to become cold because of the raining, and because of raining, what is happening? Water bodies have started to be created on the earth. As the water bodies started to create it, the atmospheric chemicals came inside the water bodies and start the reaction. So that is why the name is chemosynthetic theory. So basically, from the synthesis of the chemical, initially the simpler amino acids, proteins, nucleic acid, glycerol, fat molecules. So these different molecules were formed and they together formed the prokaryotic bacterial cell, which we are calling it as an amoeba right now in the present or the future present times. So this chemosynthetic theory given by AI Operin was further proved and experimentally proved, I will say, experimentally proved by the Urey and Miller experiment. What they did, they created the setup which is similar to the primitive earth. And because of this similarity, finally what they noticed that the AI Operin was saying that on the primitive earth, because of the rain and all the chemical reaction, because of the UV rays which were coming from the sun, which collide with each other and started a chemical reaction, and this chemical reaction results in the formation of simpler amino acid, glycine, proline, and simple fat molecules, and these together form nucleic acid and the primitive cell. So basically, here I want to conclude all this topic which we have started from the origin of life on the earth and the evolution and the variation. In this chapter, we are going to deal with these kind of different theories and their experimental techniques which were used to prove these theories. Basically, when we say theory, it is like a person who is giving his or her idea that this might have happened, but that is not experimentally proved. The proof of this theory is given by other two scientists, that is Urey and Miller. So this all thing we are going to cover in our upcoming lectures. So I want that you should learn, or you can learn all these NIOS syllabus by enrolling into the NIOS class, and I'll meet you there and I'll share more and more ideas over there. Thank you so much.